And welcome back to Worsley Bees. It's actually not the best weather for doing an inspection. It's overcast. It's actually spitting just a little bit, but I really need to get into a couple of my hives to see how they're doing, because this hive here is hive number 1 and it was queenless, or it is queenless. I introduced a queen 2 weeks ago. She was probably released out of her cage a week ago, and I know the colony is pretty weak, so I need to get in there. Now, I've been feeding them for the last few days because they didn't have a lot of resources in there. Without a lot of resources, you know, they're just not going to do well. So we're going to take a look inside. Now I have the smoker going. We'll just give them a little bit of smoke. A little bit at the top. A little bit at the entrance, a little bit under the cover. Well, I can hear bees, so that's a good sign. Okay. The queen is not on the cover. There's a few bees on the cover. I really hope that the queen was accepted. That's my hope, and I hope that she has started laying. I kind of have my doubts, but we will see. This frame has a little bit of honey on it and a lot of empty comb. A little bit of honey, a lot of empty comb, not very many bees. But I'm not seeing any beetles, so that's okay, that's good. Now, earwigs seem to be a bit of an issue this year. We've had a lot of earwigs. Pretty heavy frame of nectar. There's a couple of beetles there. Okay, so I did take out a chunk of comb. I noticed a little bit of small hive beetle larvae. Yeah, that's not good. There's some small hive beetle larvae in here. This frame is not going back. This is going to get put so they can rub this one out somewhere else. That could be an issue elsewhere. Most likely. Very, very few bees. A little bit of honey. No beetles or anything on this frame. And a lot of pollen on this frame. I don't see any beetles, so it may have been just in that one frame. So let's hope that that problem is not in the hive anymore. Most of the bees are on these two frames here, so I'm hoping that the queen is in here and that maybe I can knock these down to just a few less. I'm going to knock these down to less frames. So I've actually got a board that I can put in here, and I'll knock them down to just a few frames. I'm looking in here, lots of empty cells, no eggs, but not very many bees. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got this, which is basically just a board which will separate them from the open space that there's going to be, because I'm going to take out some frames. I just got to decide how many frames to give them, because I think maybe they only really need 3, maybe 4 frames at the very most, because there's not a lot of bees. But if there's no queen in here, then it's not going to be successful anyway. Now there is open larvae in here, which I find confusing. If you can see, there's drone brood and a little bit of open larvae, so I'm not sure if that means we have a laying worker having a little bit of drone brood. I noticed last inspection that there was that drone brood in there also. Now if you look here, there's some activity here, like it could have been a queen cell, but I did give them a queen. There's a queen cup right here, nothing in it because there is no well, there was none. There was no laying queen. I'm keeping an eye out for that queen that I introduced. Whether she's in here or not, I do not know at the moment. I'm thinking these frames are going to be taken out and they're going to be just given 4 frames. This frame is all honey and nectar. Still looking for that queen. Like I say, there really isn't that many bees in here. But it's not being robbed out. This is not a case of robbing. They are working bees in a very weak hive. Okay, now we're getting into a couple of frames here, which I hope has more bees. If I can get it out. I would say there still isn't very many bees, even on this frame. Now again, there is open larvae on this frame, which I don't know, is that a situation with a laying worker and drone brood? It's kind of what I'm thinking, because I'm not seeing any worker brood. I see some drone brood and I'm seeing some open larvae. I'm not seeing the queen. Same thing this side, open larvae and drone brood. I have a sneaky suspicion that we're dealing with a laying worker, and if that's the case, they may not accept a queen at all, which is unfortunate. But what can you do? At this point, is it worth giving them a frame of eggs and brood? This is Okay, no eggs on here. There's no queen. I'm not seeing a queen. I think this is kind of a hopeless case right here. It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And then the end frame, which is likely nothing. It's likely empty. Yeah, there's nothing in this frame. So that's an unfortunate situation for this hive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them 4 frames, because this frame here has honey in it. I'm going to put a divider in. So that now becomes a 4-frame hive. And I think these frames, I'm gonna knock the bees off. I don't need the drone brood. Yeah, there's no worker brood there. And that now is essentially the hive. A lot smaller than it was.